my Knitty Friends. How are you today? It is Tuesday. It is August 11th. And this is another Knitcast. My name is Jessie, and this is Mislaidpages, and I appreciate you checking me out. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming back every week. I appreciate your comments and your participation and all that sort of stuff. If you're brand new, thank you so much for taking the time to look at what I'm doing. So this is my Knitcast, where I will talk about all of the yarny goodness and the knitting projects that I'm working on and that kind of stuff. So first I'm going to talk about some whips, and then I've got a really fun mystery knit along that I'm getting ready to get into, and I just got my yarn for that yesterday, so I'm really excited to share that. And then I will also share my knit crate for actually it's last month's knit crate because things were late. So anyway, so let's get right into it. I actually have a lot of progress to show, which I'm surprised about because I really didn't think in the space of 1 week I would have worked on my knitting so much, as well as doing all the cross stitching that I'm still doing. By the way, if you're interested in cross stitching, I do have a floss tube. I usually post those on Fridays, at least that's the schedule I'm trying to keep now. So floss tube on Fridays, knitting I think is going to be either on Tuesday or Wednesday. So yeah, so getting a schedule, that's new for me. So I hope you all enjoy it. So anyway, let's get into the whips. So these are pretty much all the same projects that I showed in Knitcast number 2. I've just worked on them more, which is nice. So this is my mini Skein Infinity Shawl. This is a pattern from Lovebird Lane. All of these, the patterns for all the things that I'm going to show you are going to be in my link haven, and the link to the link haven is in the description below. So if you find that there's something that you're looking for that's not in the link haven, just let me know. Perhaps I forgot to add it because that happens. So this is my, like I said, this is the mini Skein Infinity scarf, which is ultimately going to be connected. This end will be connected with this end to make a wraparound scarf there. And I actually have a progress marker now. It's hard to see, but I have this little progress marker. So this is how much I have knitted since last week. So I'm kind of impressed with myself because I'm not a fast knitter at all. I knit kind of weird. I'm slightly dyslexic, and so getting the directionality of the knitting is difficult for me, and I've recently learned that part of the reason that my knitting is sometimes different than other people's is because I tend to knit in the back loop instead of coming in from the front. I actually knit from the back in the back loop. So I like the results that I get, but they're not necessarily exactly the results that are intended because I am knitting differently than other people, but you know, it's all good. And I also have on this one, I've added this little stitch marker to try to help me catch this center piece before I accidentally overstitch it. There's a place much farther down where I did something wonky, like actually I think I tinked it back and redid it because it was so messed up I couldn't stand it. Because the center here, if you don't yarn over and then knit and then yarn over again, you don't get this nice detail in the center. And I had done something wonky with it at some point where the center was off and I couldn't get it straight again no matter how I adjusted it, so I had to tink back like an entire section or something like that. So, but this is good progress. So I've got 2 color sections done. I actually just added, you can tell here, so I've just added, I finished with the stiletto here, and I've just added the roses in bloom to start another one of these sections here. So it's coming along nicely. I really like the length. I think what I talked about doing, which is just finishing out the skeins that I currently have, these three, the 3 little balls, I think finishing out these skeins is going to be just the right amount of yarn. And then I'll have a skein, a hank of stiletto, and a hank of the robin's egg left over that I can do something with. I'm wondering if I might be able to get some fingerless gloves out of those, so we'll see. If I ever have to go back to the office, fingerless gloves are going to be a godsend because it gets so cold in the office and my hands freeze. So anyway, so that's my mini Skein infinity scarf. Part of the reason that I've done so much work on this one is because this is my like relaxing watching TV project in the evenings. There's a little, just enough thinking to make it interesting, especially because I'm switching colors every 16 rows. So there's just enough of the extra complex, not complex, but there's just enough to make it interesting, but not enough that I really have to think too hard. So this is the one that I do when I just want to relax and do some knitting. A lot of times I do this when I'm too tired to cross stitch or my head hurts or something like that, because it's just super easy. Also, I meant to mention, so when I first started using, or when I first bought this yarn, I was a little disappointed because the yarn was not quite the colors I had expected. But I have to tell y'all, the base that's dyed on is actually my favorite base of any of the yarns that I'm using right now. It's got a little bit of stretch to it. I need to find one of the tags to find out exactly what the mixture is, because it's got a little bit of stretch to it, but it doesn't split when I'm knitting, and that's an issue that I have with pretty much every other yarn that I'm using, is that it splits a lot, and I have trouble getting the needles around the yarn without splitting it and without getting some funky stuff happening. So I really love that base. That's the other reason that I really like knitting with it, because I don't have to worry so much. I can just go without splitting the yarn and all that sort of stuff. I picked up my Changing Staircases shawl with my paisley pearl. Oh, I should probably mention again, this yarn is from a chick that knits on Etsy. Again, that link will be in my link haven. I picked up my Changing Staircases shawl, and I actually did a fair bit of work on this too. I also realized I messed up. So it had been a while. I think when I last showed it, I had not, oh my gosh, what's happening here? Okay. When I last showed it, I had not actually worked on it in quite a while. So I had been using my pattern sheet to keep track of what rows I was on, how many I'd done, and what section, and all this sort of stuff. I didn't realize it, but I had mismarked, or I had skipped a section in my marking. So as I was working on it, while I was actively working on it, it was totally fine, because I just knew to go to if I was on stockinette, I knew to go to lace. If I was on lace, I knew to go to stockinette. But when I went back to it after not working on it a while, I looked at the pattern, and the pattern said I was on a lace section, so I started working a lace section, only to find out that I had already been working half of a garter section. So I don't know if you can see. So from here to here, this should actually, it should have all been garter based on where I was. I did like 5 rows of garter stitch here, and then I've got 5 rows of lace here. So by the time I realized that, I was like, oops. So what I decided to do, rather than tinking it back or undoing anything, because I don't think I'm not confident in my ability to tink this back that far. What I decided to do was to catch up by just doing a double section of stockinette, because the section I'd skipped on the sheet was a stockinette section. So I finished the 5 rows of lace. So this section that should have been all lace is now a half garter, half lace. Sorry, stockinette. This is not garter stitch, it's stockinette. So it's half stockinette, half lace. And then I went into the stockinette section, and then once I finished that stockinette section, I just started doing the very next section that would have been in the correct order, which was stockinette. So we'll have a double thick section of stockinette right there, which is about halfway through the pattern. So I feel like that's going to be possibly visually pretty interesting, so I'm happy with that. I'm okay with it. It'll make it, as Heike told me, it's one of a kind now. Also, I put a stitch marker in here, so look how much work I actually did on that. That's a pretty good section, and you can see it's getting pretty wide now, because I'm increasing on every other row, so it's getting to be like a shawl, y'all. So yeah, that's gonna be really nice. Be a nice curvy shawl when I'm done. I have a feeling what I'm going to do with these is I wear a lot of black when I'm actually in the office. You wouldn't know it from the outfits that I wear on my Knitcast, my floss tube, but I mostly wear black at work. So what I'm probably going to do is just wear the black and then have these, you know, fancy, beautiful colored shawls over top of it. I mean, I'm not mad about it. So yeah, very happy with that progress. So at this point, I think I'm more than halfway. I'm like 2/3, because there's 3 sections of sections. And I'm just about through the second section, of directions. So I'm just about 2/3 of the way through. So that's exciting. I have no idea how I'm going to block this out, but I love these teeth. And I think actually I like this enough. Let's see if I can get it to focus. There we go. I like the design of this with the teeth on the end enough. I think I'm going to look up the hitchhiker shawl that, the pattern for the hitchhiker shawl that Michelle Bendy Stitchy is doing. And I might use one of my other really brightly colored yarns to do that one, because I really like that style. I hate casting on a ton of stitches all at one time, so any shawl that starts in one corner and then branches out is much better for me, because I like starting small. It makes me feel like I can make a lot of progress, and then you eventually get to that big wide piece, so that's nice. I did work a little bit on my sock, not a ton. I told you last time I was going to stay on the double pointed needles while I changed my mind. I went ahead and switched over to a sock needle. So this is a 9-inch Shawl sock needle, circular needle, and you can see it's all one piece. So I'm hoping that's going to help with the laddering I was getting. I've just put some end caps on here so that my stitches don't fall off while I'm not stitching it. And I don't know if you can see, but I have little stitch markers in here to tell me where my previous separations were, because any of you who know about knitting socks, let me set that up so you can actually focus on this, not on my face. Okay, it just doesn't want to do. It's trying. Okay, anyway. So I've got these little stitch markers here, because once I get to the point where I've knitted enough length, I'm going to have to separate some stitches out to start the heel, to turn the heel, and all that sort of stuff. So I went ahead and left those in. Funny story though, if you're new to using these solid markers versus locking markers, you have to be really, really careful how you put them on your needle, because if you're not careful, you end up like me, and as soon as you start stitching one of those onto, or as soon as you throw one of those onto your needle, you end up stitching it right into your sock, so that when you get to the end of that row, you realize that that marker is going to live there forever unless you tink it back. So I almost had a really blingy sock because I almost just decided to leave the stitch marker where it was, because I was just like, no. But ultimately I did decide to tink it back, so we don't have a permanent stitch marker in the sock, which is good. And I do have, this is my progress marker here, this little purple doodad. So you can see I've only done a few rows. And part of that is this, because this is a 9-inch circular, it's actually a little too short for me. I do have a 10-inch circular sock needle by a different company called Addi, A-D-D-I, which is a company out of Germany. And I might switch over to that needle instead, because it's just a little bit longer. It might give me that extra. This was making my hands cramp, so I didn't do very much on it. But I did work on my sock, and I'm trying to decide now whether this is long enough for me or whether I really do want to try to. This is about 4.5 inches, I think. I'm supposed to be knitting to 7 inches. Part of me is like, this is a long enough sock. I don't need long socks anyway. We'll see. We'll see. And last but not least, I worked on my Empower People bandana. And actually, I should say I didn't work on it so much as, oh sorry, I'm bouncing the camera. I keep forgetting that this camera is so wobbly. I didn't work on it so much as completely restart it. but, let me get my stuff on. Look how much progress. Look at that. So this is actually the right side, and I can tell it's the right side because I have put a little stitch marker on the front. This progress marker is from about the point at which I posted it on Instagram the other day. So I just restarted this Sunday. Yeah, that's right. I just restarted this Sunday because I went back to it and I was like, let me knit on this, because I also made a deal with myself. I've bought so much yarn recently that I decided that I should maybe have a moratorium on yarn until I finish at least one project, and then I can buy more yarn, other than subscriptions and things I've already purchased, obviously. So I decided this should be the quickest thing to hurry up and get done, so I decided to go back to it. But I still really wasn't happy with it. Even after restarting it multiple times, when I first started it, when I went back to it, it was so loose and it was so floppy, and I tried doing the alteration I had done to get a straighter edge and that sort of thing, and it just, nothing was working for me. So finally I decided it's floppy because the needles were so big. I was using a US size 7, which is what the pattern calls for. Theoretically, my yarn is a heavy enough weight that that should be fine, but it was so loose and I couldn't live with it. So I went down a size on my needles, and also I changed up how this edge is stitched. So the original pattern calls for something very simple. I can't remember what it is, but I've decided to use a stitch that's very similar to what I'm doing on the Changing Staircases shawl. Now the difference is this is a garter stitch, so I'm just knitting on both sides. I never purl for this one, so that's why this edge does not have that pretty curl that the Changing Staircases shawl has, because that is knit in one direction and then it's purled on the wrong side. This is knitted on both the right and the wrong side. But it is giving me this gorgeous, well, what I think is gorgeous, this really nice defined edge right there, which I'm very, very happy with. So I love the way that's turning out. And this is basically just, I knit the first stitch, and then on the right side, I knit the first stitch, and then I knit front back on the second stitch, and then on the wrong side direction, knit until 4 from the end, and then I knit 2 together, and then I knit front back, and then I knit the last stitch. And the reason that I'm doing that is because the pattern calls for an increase only on the right side rows. It doesn't call for an increase on the wrong side rows. So because I did this before, if I were to just to knit front back on the same edge in both directions, it would have a much bigger arc. It would be much more like the Changing Staircases. It wouldn't have this sharper angle. So that's how I have solved that, and I'm kind of happy with myself. Excuse me. My throat's dry and I need coffee already. So I'm kind of proud of myself for being able to suss that out and figure that out. So, and as you can see, so this is when I started it. I restarted it on Sunday. This is where I got to when I posted it on Instagram, and then this is how much I have stitched since then. So doing pretty well. I need to work it until this is about 20 inches long. I think 20 inches is going to be the right length for me, because I'll stitch 20 inches this way, and then once I get that length, I'll stitch 2 inches without increasing at all. So I'll create another straight edge at the top so that I can wrap it around and and sew it together on this edge. So it will create a cowl, basically, is what I'm going for. I think you would want it smaller for a bandana, but I'm more likely going to wear it as a cowl. And it's kind of, I still am not a huge fan of this sparkly yarn, but it's, now that I have a fabric that I prefer, that I've actually created something, because I like how thick this is and how solid it feels, and the fact that it's shaping itself. So I'm liking the stellina a little bit more from those perspectives than I did originally. But this yarn too splits terribly. I don't know why. All my yarn is splitting. And it has to, I'm sure it has to do with the type of base and how many plies and all that sort of stuff. I need to educate myself a little bit better on those things so that I know exactly what I'm looking for when I buy more yarn. So that's all the whips, but that's a lot of whips, and that's a lot of work, I think. So really, really fun working on all those. But I did hear about this brand new mystery stitch along. Heike is actually the one who brought it to my attention, because somehow I missed it, even though and actually I should have mentioned the pattern for the Empower People bandana was created by a woman named Casa Pinka. That's the name she goes by on Instagram and on Facebook and on YouTube. Casa Pinka, Casapinka. So not only did she create that fabulous pattern for the Empower People 2020 craftivism movement to remind us to be active in voting and acting in civil rights, and to remind us to go and be active in our communities, to fight for equal rights and for Black lives and for people of color and all that sort of stuff. Not only did she do that, she is assisting with this mystery knit-along that is actually being hosted by her cat, who is Sharon from Security. So it is the cutest thing ever. And Heike over at Stone Cold Coffee Crafts is the one who brought it to my attention, and of course I had to jump on. So super, super fun. If you haven't heard about it yet, you need to go and you need to read, excuse me, you need to go and you need to read Sharon's information about the mystery knit-along, the MKAL, because it's hilarious. And she explains why she's not knitting, why Casapinka is knitting for her, because, it's really difficult to knit when you don't have opposable thumbs. Also, she is head of security, and so, her main responsibility is to be on patrol and to make sure things are safe. So, but it is freaking hilarious. So the MKAL is called The Sharon Show. I'm gonna hide that part. The Sharon Show. I can't. Oh my gosh. Okay. The Sharon Show, hosted by Sharon from Security. One of these days. Probably that sheet is okay to show you, because that's just the materials and all that sort of stuff. But you do need to purchase the pattern from Casapinka. You need to join. If you want to join in, you need to purchase it from Casapinka. She is on Ravelry. If you have issues with Ravelry, she has also created a Facebook page where you can get in on the community there. And I know a lot of people are having a lot of problems with accessibility with Ravelry right now. And I can speak from personal experience. The website is painful. I hadn't really known anything about it until I started seeing a few of the folks that I follow on YouTube and Instagram start discussing it. Michelle Bendy Stitchy, Casapinka, a few others. Started talking about the severe issues that some folks are having trying to use Ravelry after the redesign. And because I'm not somebody who's on Ravelry all the time, one, I didn't know that there was a redesign, and two, I had not experienced the redesign to know whether it was a problem for me. But I did go the other day, and I noticed that I actually was getting eye strain. In 5 minutes. In less than 5 minutes, I could feel that there was pain and strain in my eyes. And I'm not somebody who usually has a lot of issues with looking at a computer and that kind of stuff. I look at a computer all day long for my job, and I look at a computer all day long for fun stuff sometimes too. It's just how I am. But even for me, who normally doesn't have issues, it was painful. And I have heard that there are folks who are not only having severe headaches and migraines, which are from personal experience awful. I wouldn't wish migraines on my worst enemy. But not only that, it's triggering seizures in some people. And I'm not sure if it's triggering seizures in folks who have a history of seizures, or if it's also triggering seizures in folks who do not have a history of epilepsy or other seizure disorders. But regardless, it's harming people. So as much as possible, I am also working to find links to things that I have enjoyed on Ravelry that are links off of Ravelry, so that if folks who follow me or learn about things through me have the same kind of issues, they don't have to worry about experiencing pain or discomfort or seizures or anything like that when they go to a link that I provide. So fair warning, if I can't find a link to Ravelry, or a link that's not on Ravelry, I'm putting that in my link haven. I'm stating that as much as possible. I will give you another link that's not a Ravelry link. I am still providing the Ravelry links also. For some people it's easier, even though I have issues with the site, I do find it easier to just go and download the pattern and then look at it outside of Ravelry. So If I have the Ravelry link, I will provide that, but I will also endeavor to provide you links that are off of Ravelry as well. And when I can't, I'll let you know that I haven't found one. So just as a PSA. So, but anyway, the Sharon Show is fantastic. I've seen some of the some folks already posting because okay, back up. I'm getting ahead of myself. So the Sharon Show is a 6-week MKAL, mystery knit along. So you get one clue each week. It started last Friday, August 7th. I didn't have my yarn yet because I had only just learned about it earlier that week. I had ordered my yarn, was hoping to get it on Friday, but Maryland held my package captive and it didn't arrive in Richmond until Saturday morning. So I knew that I was not getting it Saturday either, which was disappointing because I really, really wanted to jump on the pattern. I was really afraid at first that it was going to be much more complicated because there's actually a schematic that kind of gives you an idea about how the colors are used. It's not an actual picture of the pattern, but I'm not going to show it to you because you have to buy the pattern in order to see it. So if you look at Instagram, some people have posted their own versions of this so you can see it. But it's a schematic to give you an idea of how the colors lay next to each other and over top of each other in some cases. And so when I saw this, I immediately was scared because I'm like, color work? You know, yarn over top of other yarn, what's going on here? I'm a new knitter, like I can knit and I can purl, and that's kind of like, that's the extent of it. So I was really afraid, but I started reading more through the pre-clues, and it really is set up for beginner knitters. So you have everything is set up for somebody who is relatively new or is a beginning knitter, and then there are some sections that are more complicated, and those sections have the standard pattern, you know, what is included as part of the knit along, and then there's a section included with that that tells you what you might want to do if you're not as adventurous, or if you're not an intermediate beginner, you're a real beginner. You know, so there's a couple of levels, but it's all set up for relatively new and inexperienced knitters. So it's not for folks that have been knitting for 30 years. It's more for folks like me who are maybe a little bit more adventurous, but still at that beginner level. So I'm going to try the standard pattern as much as possible and not do the beginner pattern, but we'll see. And when the clue dropped, I was like, wow, it looked really simple. Or at least it looked like stitches that I could do without a lot of problem. It didn't look like anything that was going to be super scary or difficult. So I was really excited about that. And it uses 4 colors, and you kind of have to strategize how you're putting the colors together so that you don't get something really weird looking. And Sharon provides a lot of information about how to strategize your colors. And the first thing I did, because I am awful at color coordination, you know, basically if it's not shades of the same color or black with a color, I'm out. I'm not good. I'm not good, which is hilarious because I was a design student at one point. I was a graphic design student at one point. But colors, I don't know. Color theory just escapes me somehow. I love colors, but basically I like all the colors together. So, but yeah, so the first thing I did was I went to a vendor providing yarn specifically, you know, in packs of 4 specifically for this knit along, so that I knew that I was getting colors that would work in the way that they needed to. So let me get to that now. So now we're basically in the haul section, or in the purchases section, and I only have 2 things to show you. I have my knit crate, which I'll show at the end, and I have my yarn for the Sharon Show. So, pardon me while I just get things together. So, the vendor that Casapinka suggested for this is a vendor called Miss Babs, and I've tried to hide all of the pertinent information. I might fuzz out some more of that. But Miss Babs Yarn. This is a hand-dyed yarn company out of Mountain City, Tennessee, which is why the order got here so quickly. And if it hadn't been for the fact that it had to go through Maryland, it would have been here on Friday. But I'm telling you, no offense to anybody who lives in Maryland, but for some reason, if my mail has to go through Maryland, it always takes an extra day, at least an extra day, if not 2. So, just saying. But as you can see, it actually came in a really nice I mean, you can see that it's in tissue paper inside there too, but it also came with a couple of like freebies. So there's this little yarn tassel-y thing here. There's a ruler here. I love rulers, just FYI. But yeah, so I was really excited because I was just gonna rip it open when I finally got it yesterday. But when it came packaged like this, I'm like, okay, I have to wait because I have to put it on Knitcast because you know me, I like to show you how things arrived. So it was inside of one of those Tyvek priority mail envelopes, like the soft ones. But inside of that, it's wrapped in plastic and it's wrapped in tissue paper, and it's just really nicely packaged. So yay, Miss Babs! Thanks for the packaging awesomeness. So now I'm gonna cut this label if I can, so we can see what's inside the bag. Pardon the jumpy camera. At some point, I will eventually get the camera set up so that it won't bounce. Okay, let me just take this order form off because you don't need to see that. Okay, that's all their policies and stuff. You don't need to see my personal information. So this little thing, it says swatch me, a 10-yard sample of Miss Babs Tarte base, which is a fingering weight yarn that's 75% merino wool, superwash merino, 15% nylon, 10% tencel. It's 500 yards in a normal skein, and this colorway is South Beach. So it's pretty nice. It reminds me of some of the floss that I purchased recently from from Anti by Rolanda. It's a really nice colorway. So it says it's fingering weight, but that seems a little thick to me. It might just be because I use so much fingering weight now that everything seems thick. But that's really cute. I don't know what I will make out of this, because it's only, what does it say? It's a 10-yard sample. What can you do with 10 yards of yarn? Got any ideas? Because, yeah, I'm going to try that. So that's super cool that they sent me that. Where did my ruler go? Okay, the ruler's still in the back. They sent me this cute little ruler, which you can't see now because it's clear. I love a plastic ruler. Okay, and now we have the yarn. I'm super excited about this colorway. Oh, it's a little bit darker in person. That's okay though. So this colorway, and it has the price on here. I'm going to try to hide that. So this is the Yummy 2-ply quartet, or it is a Yummy 2-ply quartet. She has a bunch of quartets on the website, Miss Babs does. This is special edition 546, and it is 100% superwash merino, fingering weight yarn, total yardage 1,600 yards, which should be just enough for the Sharon Show. So let me show you. Look at that. This on the end, this dark color is actually let's hold it this way. Put it in front of my face. Okay. So this color on the end here, you can tell a little bit better when I hold it this way. Let me just take it out of here. It looks a little black, but it's actually a dark brown. So let's just go through these here. So this colorway is called Bittersweet Chocolate, which it's a nice deep brown. Oh, there we go. There we go. We got a little bit of variegation, just a little bit. That's really nice. And Bittersweet Chocolate is the perfect name for this color, let me tell you. This one is one of the main reasons that I ordered this. This is called Shiso. It's sort of a magenta. Not quite as deep dark as the stiletto that I got from a chick that knits, but I really like this color, and I think I'm gonna really like this yarn. This is much more like the stiletto, or it's much more like the base for the yarns I got from a chick that knits. This colorway is called Frog Belly. That's pretty appropriate. And this actually I like. It's not quite as pale in person. So this colorway is not quite as it looks a lot paler on camera than it is in person. So it's more of, not quite a mint green, it's got a little bit more brown, I think, than your average mint green, but it is greener than it appears on camera. It's a really nice color. And this last one was the other reason that I really loved this colorway. This is Coos Bay, this colorway. So, and again, it's not the, I must have the green balance wrong or something. It could be that my shirt is blowing things out. It does have more green in it, so this is closer to a teal than the blue that's coming out on camera. But I love these colors. I think they're fantastic. And I was so happy to find that there was a company that was selling yarns in colorways so that I didn't have to figure out what 4 colors to put together, because that was not going to be a good thing. So yeah, I'm super excited about these yarns. I love this colorway. I'm still, to be honest, because of some of the spoilers that I've seen, I'm not sure that I want to use this dark brown, or if I use the dark brown, I'm going to have to figure out which of the 4, I'm going to have to figure out what order to put them in, because I don't want this to be a dominant color in the finished product. I would like for these 2 to be accent sort of colors, and these 2 to be the stars, is what I would like. So part of me is considering switching out this brown for a lighter color. I need to look through the yarn that I have on hand and see if there's something that can go with this set that is not too much like any of the other colors. Because all of these are pretty solid and they're not variegated, I can stand to put a speckle in there or a variegated or something like that. So maybe one of my ruby and roses will fit with this. So many of my yarns are minis though, and I can't really use a mini because I need like 400 grams, not 400 grams, I need 400 yards of a specific color. So I suppose if I wanted to use like a whole mini set along with these 3 other colors, but then that's adding in a whole other level of complication that I think is way too much. So regardless, I'm either going to figure out a way to organize these so that the brown and green are the accent colors, or I'm going to swap out this brown for something. So we'll see. I haven't decided yet because literally I just opened up the yarn. So shortly after this video, I am actually going to look at the other yarns that I have available and see what I think is going to work best. And then I'm going to strategize, and then hopefully later today I'll actually get this cast on. I will say this is going to be a rectangular shawl. The MKAL is a rectangular shawl. And now my face won't focus. Okay. Anyway, whatever. There it goes. So it's a square shawl, which means I'm going to have to cast on like 110 stitches, which I'm not looking forward to personally, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, from the spoilers I've seen, it's a pretty awesome looking shawl, and I can't wait to get started. So very, very happy about that. I will add, hopefully by the time I actually post this video, I will have added Miss Bab's shop to the link haven, but if it's not there, just let me know and I will make sure it gets added to link haven because she has some awesome colors, and the shipping was super fast. So if you're on my side of the country, you know, like I said, they're in Tennessee, I'm in Virginia, so the shipping was incredibly fast. I think I ordered on Wednesday or Thursday. Might have been Tuesday. Regardless, the original the original delivery date was expected to be Friday, and it's only because it went through Maryland that it wasn't here Friday. So, super fast shipping. And because I was a new customer, evidently I got, you know, fun little freebies. So, really awesome. Okay, so that's that for that. I will definitely be giving you more updates on the Sharon Show as I continue on through the MKAL. This is my first ever MKAL. I've never done a mystery, I've never done knit-along, period. And this is the first time I will be doing a mystery knit-along, so I'm super excited about it. And I'm trying to fight the urge to do tons of other mystery knit-alongs because I already have too many projects. I don't need to do with the cross-stitch stitch-alongs, like, I don't need to do with MKALs like I did with the cross-stitch stitch-alongs. Okay, last but not not least, and I got to get done with this pretty quick because my husband is on the way home, so I don't want him to interrupt my filming. But I do have Knit Crate. Knit Crate, and they are finally back to the boxes, which it makes me more excited than I should be. But I love the boxes. I know that there's less waste when they do the bags, but I don't know. There's something about getting a box in the mail that just makes me happy. So they're back to the boxes. Yay. This is your fair warning that if you have not received your July Knit Crate and you don't want to have the color spoiled for you, you should close your eyes or maybe, move to the next video or whatever, because I am going to reveal the Energize Me colorway for Knit Crate from July. Also, I have skipped August's box. I did not care for the yarn for August. So the next Knit Crate you see, other than extras that I've ordered, won't be at least until September. So just FYI. But this is awesome. I'm so excited about this yarn. Oh my gosh, it's not going to come off on camera. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous pink. It's so blown out. But this is, and I am not normally the person who's like, oh my god, pink. This is a pink that I am gaga over, and it is so soft. It is so soft, and the reason it's so soft, this is cotton. This is cotton yarn, y'all, and the color is just, it's out of this world. It's so vibrant, and I wish it was coming off, but it's too red on camera. It's a much more magenta type pink, but it's so gorgeous, and it's so soft. And I love the look and feel of it. This is the first time in a long time that I've been super excited about Knit Crate. So this is, again, Uru Yarns. This is apparently the yarn base that they are going to use from now on or something. I don't know. They've been using Uru for the last several boxes, and it might be a sourcing thing. I'm not really sure. But this is organic Pima cotton, 100% organic Pima cotton in DK weight. So it's 266 yards, 100 grams. Machine wash, gentle cycle, lay flat to dry. So this is maybe a little bit more washable than your average wool, because it is cotton. Oh, and I just can't get over it. This colorway is Hustle. So I actually have on the way, it might be here today, later today, that was a rhyme. I was a poet and didn't know it. But later today, I think I'm getting the other two colorways. So there's a gray, and there's what is either a navy blue or a purple, a deep purple. I'm getting 2 skeins of each of those on the way, and I'm super excited because, yes. And then, as it turned out, when I received this box, the same day that I received this box, they decided to do a flash sale. So I also have 2 more skeins of pink. I have 2 more skeins of pink also coming. So this might be a sweater. This might be a sweater at some point. 4 skeins might be enough for a sweater quantity. I'm not really sure. I've never tried to knit a sweater. Yeah, so we'll see, but I will have 4 skeins of this gorgeousness. Gorgeous. Okay, so super duper happy about that. And so now that they have the boxes again, they also have the books again, which is super exciting. I haven't actually gotten a pattern for the last few months because I haven't gone to the website that you have to go to. But this is, I'm so happy that they have the books again. It makes me very, very happy to have the physical books. And then this month's extra little freebie is a special crochet hook. And I probably would know what this is called if I could remember if I could remember more from my crochet days. But I'm sure this is for like Tunisian crochet or something like that. It's a special style of crochet. Or it's just for really long projects maybe. I'm not sure. I would think Tunisian though, because Tunisian I think you use more than just your crochet hook. Anyway, if y'all know more about that than I do, you're welcome to let me know in comments. So that is it, folks. Like I said, I'm super excited. Super excited. I don't know why that color makes me so happy, but it really, really does. Love it, love it. And I have so much more coming, which is part of the reason that I'm on a no-buy now, at least until I finish one project, because, yeah. So, anyway, there will certainly be many more yarns to show you in the future, not just Knit Crate, but I think I talked about it already. I have Rebel Woolworks Haunted Haunted Lodge Advent coming, and I believe that's October, so that's not too far from now. I have that coming, and I'm super excited. And then at Christmas time or holiday time, I will have Ruby and Roses Advent. I might. Forbidden Fiber Co. has an Advent, and I just saw that Rebel Woolworks also has a holiday Advent. We'll see. If I'm very, very good and I don't buy tons and tons of other things in between now and then, maybe I'll sign up for another Advent, just because I love. Oh, I didn't tell you. I do this all the time. So, new yarns that you will be seeing in the very near future. I signed up for 2 clubs because I'm not getting enough yarn. There is a sock club, or a mini club out of the UK. I think it's Karen Brown Yarns. I'd have to look at once it gets here. I'll be able to tell you what it is. But it was a really inexpensive mini club. You get 4 or 5 minis every month, and I want to say that even with shipping to the U.S., it was only like £14.40 or something like that, which works out to about $20 US, which is cheaper than Knit Crate. So I have that coming. Probably. I don't think it will be here in August. It probably won't be here until September, because I probably didn't sign up for it early enough to get it this month. But whenever that comes, I'm super excited to show you. I got the ombre option in the sock weight, I believe, the sock base. So that should be really fun. And I also signed up for this super, super, super exciting. And you can sign up until tomorrow. So if I get this posted today, you can still sign up for it through Yarn Over Truck, like Yarn Over Truck, on Instagram. They are working with Forbidden Fiber Co. to create this fantastic sock club, or yarn club. I keep wanting to call everything a sock club. It's a yarn club that will have 6 skeins of yarn over the next 12 months that are based on, the colorways are inspired by heroines or female figures of power. So the female doctor from Doctor Who, Willow from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Elsa and her sister from Frozen, who else? Wonder Woman, Mulan from the live action version, and there's a couple other I'm missing. That's gonna bug me. Anyway, it's based on strong female characters in film and television and literature, so it's fantastic. Super, super excited about that. I think the first skein drops in September, and because it's Forbidden Fiber Co., you know it's gonna be awesome. So yeah, I had to sign up. So those 2 are coming in the future too. So there will be more yarn, even though I am trying not to purchase any other additional yarn. But honestly, there's at least 2 colorways from Paisley Pearl that I need in my life. So I'm gonna try to get at least one project finished so that I can reward myself with a skein of yarn. So anyway, that's it for me for now. I hope you're having a great day and that your week is shaping up well. I hope you're staying healthy and you're staying safe, and I will see you again next time. Have a great one, everyone.